喺今年第3個星期咧，我哋會睇提摩太書信。
In the third week of every month, we will study the book of Timothy.
我哋今日嘗試讓我哋能夠認識提摩太呢一個嘅人。
Today, we will try to understand Timothy.
以致我哋能夠當睇提摩太書信嘅時候，我哋更容易掌握到裏邊要帶俾我哋嘅信息。
So it will help us to understand the message from the book of Timothy.
最近認識到一本書叫做《照顧好自己就好啦》。
Recently, I have understand there's a book called "It's Good to You take care of good is good enough for you."
咁裏邊咧係講到61個嘅解放心靈嘅技巧。
So it mentions 61 techniques you can release your spirit or your heart to.
咁呢一個係講到一個日本人寫嘅一個書。
Actually, it's written by a Japanese.
裏邊所講嘅嘢咧，未必會完全同意，但係裏邊帶出咗一樣值得我哋去思想嘅事。
So all the techniques they mentioned them, you may not agree of them, but there's some point we may want to highlight today.
原來我哋每一個嘅人都好在乎別人點睇你。
And one thing is we really care how people, what perception people have on you.
你介唔介意人點睇你啊？
Do you mind how people look at you?
所以我哋要執一執先翻得嚟，係咪
That's the reason we to kind of tidy up or make up when we come to see people.
如果有人望住你，
But if you just look at you,
望你一排，
just stare at you for a while,
你個反應係乜嘢？
what will you respond?
可能你即刻反應嘅冇乜嘢嘛，冇乜嘢嘛。
You may say, "Oh, do you find something wrong with me?"
係咪？咁跟住你第一樣嘢你係諗，可能我有啲嘢唔妥喎。
There may be something wrong. That's the reason why people stare at me.
原來每一個人都好在乎別人點睇你。
And actually, everyone care about how people look at you.
以致我哋嘅人生可能我哋係為別人而活嘅人生。
And that's the reason then make out our life, we just try to get a good impression from others.
或者喺我哋嘅成長嘅過程嘅時候，好容易我哋揾唔到我哋嘅自我。
During our growth, actually, we have hard time to find our identity.
或者當你嘅成長同別人嘅期望唔同嘅時候，你嘅反應會係點？
During our growth, when we will achieve and what people's expectation didn't align, then how we will respond to them.
可能我哋達唔到父母嘅要求，我哋會失望。
Well, we may find we will be despair or disappointed when realize that we didn't meet the parents' the expectation.
上一代嘅父母會鬧你。
There should be, the older generation may kind of blame on you.
或者就算現代嘅時候都鼓勵你，但係你感受到你嘅父母可能未必喜悅。
So even though right nowadays the parents try to encourage you, but you may still feel that the parents are upset with you.
當你嘗試好多次嘅時候，你都達唔到別人嘅要求嘅時候，可能你會灰心。
When you try many times to get to reach people's expectation and you fail, then you find out despair.
可能你會認定我都係唔可以好似人哋咁好嘅咁叻㗎啦。
You may conclude yourself that I won't be as good as them anymore.
以至可能你就會停滯咗，唔會繼續嘅成長突破。
And then you remain status quo and will not try to break through anymore.
有啲人就跌咗喺呢個嘅失望嘅絕望嘅幽谷嘅裏邊，一生嘅裏邊就唔能夠成長。
So people may fail in this kind of valley of disappointment and never able to have a life improvement again.
可能你話咁都係我自己個人嘅事。
Or you may say, "Oh, this is my personal issue."
但係請你留意，當我哋建立一啲嘅負面嘅思想嘅時候，好容易喺我哋嘅言談係影響咗人對你嘅觀感，或者可能你嘅負面係影響到別人嘅成長。
When we have this negative emotion inside, then our behavior, our speech may have impact on others.
可能影響咗你嘅下一代，佢嘅點樣去睇人生。
And also you may impact your next generation, how they view the life,
或者影響到別人點睇你嘅信仰。
and also impact other people, how they view your belief or your religions.
點解一個基督徒你唔係有信仰、有神嘅同在，點解成日恐懼、又戰驚啊，又唔敢前進，或者有好多嘅負面嘅思想啊？
People we criticize why a Christian, even they have belief and faith, they still have all this fear and disappointment.
你會唔會落喺呢一個嘅情況嘅底下？
Will you also facing the same situations?
今日我哋睇提摩太呢一個人，
When you look at this person or the person Timothy,
我哋嘗試從三個唔同嘅角度睇佢嘅，包括佢自己嘅人生裏邊嘅目標，佢點樣領受神俾佢嘅祝福，最後我哋會睇佢嘅侍奉嘅掙扎。
so today we will look at explore Timothy in three different directions. His personal or his mission or his struggling, or also how he
At the end is the struggle when he going into the ministry.
yeah.
你會留意提摩太喺起步嘅時候，佢成長得好好，佢得天獨厚。
In the beginning, or when he actually his spiritual goal was really kind of strong.
但係當佢去到佢後期嘅侍奉裏邊，佢跌到一個好深嘅幽谷嘅底下，以致保羅需要寫兩封信去鼓勵佢。
And at the point that his serving was or spiritual status was dropped to the valley, Apostle Paul has to wrote two letters to encourage him.
如果提摩太前後書只係為提摩太呢個人寫嘅，
With the first and second book of Timothy, it just prepared for Timothy.
點解聖經要記載落去聖經裏邊？
Then why the Bible has to put these two letters there?
當聖經記載提摩太前後書嘅時候，因為提摩太所面對嘅掙扎唔係淨係提摩太面對，而係喺我哋歷世歷代嘅信徒可能都會面對。
The reason is that the challenge the difficulty that Timothy had been stating is the same challenge difficulty that faced by generation of Christians.
我哋面對人生會恐懼，面對我哋人際嘅事情亦會恐懼。可能我哋面對侍奉嘅裏邊，可能我哋不似預期，以致我哋冇力嘅前進。
We will fear of things happen around us, and also fear to serve, and all this fear can be hinder our spiritual growth.
讓我哋能夠喺今年裏邊喺提摩太前後書嘅裏邊，能夠攞到一啲點樣去成長或者去侍奉嘅一啲嘅原則秘訣。
So this year we will study the books of 1st and 2nd Timothy and explore what is the critical points that will help us to grow, have a spiritual growth.
以致我哋能夠喺個人裏邊能夠有一個根身去建造，能夠有一個復興。
Such that we can learn how to have a spiritual renewal and revival in our life.
咁當我哋去睇提摩太呢一個嘅人嘅時候咧，提摩太呢一個名喺希臘文裏邊有咩意思？
And the name Timothy has a special meaning in Greek.
第一個嘅意思叫做尊敬。
The first meaning is respect.
當父母俾一個名佢嘅時候，好期望呢一個嘅人係備受尊敬。
When the parent named the child as Timothy, they want this child to be respected.
想唔想俾人尊敬啊？
You want to be respected?
想啊，係咪啊？你要
Of course,
respect
we
your
want
parents，OK？ 係咪啊？個個都好想俾人尊敬，俾人接納。
If you want to be respected,
呢個係佢父母俾佢嘅名。
this is the name that given by Timothy's parents.
提摩太呢一個名亦都有另一個意思，叫做榮耀神嘅人。
The name as Timothy also have another meaning, that is those who glorify God.
請記住呢兩個嘅解釋。
Remember, there's two meanings of Timothy.
你會留意喺我哋嘅每一個人嘅名嘅裏邊，都有一個深層次嘅意義。
Actually, every one of us may have the name of each one of us may have a special meaning.
嗱，中國人有句説話，
There's a Chinese saying that
唔怕生壞命，
we are not afraid you have a bad life or a difficult life.
最怕咩啊？改壞名啊！
We are afraid that your name in badly.
我哋成日攞有啲嘅人咧，佢父母叫佢做美麗，
So someone may have a name mean pretty.
但係佢姓吳。
However, in Chinese name, their last name is
Yes,
So,
that mean no. Okay.
But in Chinese
so
meaning,
the sounds like not really,
Yeah.
right? So, but the name is good. But put the last name together, always to let the people to looking on him or her, right? 對唔住你明唔明啊？即係當我哋擺埋中英文一齊嘅時候，好容易就俾人笑咯。
Sometimes lots of people make fun of your name anyway.
咁嘅一個猶太嘅背景嘅人嘅時候，佢改個名，除咗父母帶俾佢期望，神亦都有啲嘅心意。
Also, there's an expectation of the parent to the children by naming especially. Also, God has an expectation on the person.
從一個嘅角度，父母好想你嘅人生裏邊備受尊重。
The parent, of course, want you to be respected in your life.
你出人頭地，
And you have a really,
你有成績。
and you are really kind of have great achievements in your life.
咁可能一個人嘅人生就不斷去追求你嘅成就，以致希望別人去尊重你。
So all your life, you try to pursue or fulfill those achievements, and so people can respect you.
但係當你面對人生嘅時候，可能你會有人尊重，但係亦都有人係落嚟嘅。
Of course, in your lives, some people will respect you, but some people will just disrespect you also.
可能你喺你工作嘅裏邊，你好多同事好尊重你，但係有一個唔尊重你，嗰個就搞到你，哎呀，真係好唔開心。
In your workplace, maybe lots of people respect you, but unfortunately, there is one that is so unrespectful, then you will get you lots of trouble.
你會點睇你嘅人生？
And how you look, how you view your life right now.
頭先提到本書要提我哋要好好平衡我哋嘅人生。
We just mentioned the book that we have to have a balance in our life.
如果你只係為一個人而活嘅時候，你人生裏邊你一定會遭遇問題。
If you just live for only one people's opinion, then you will have problem in your life.
唔好忘記咗提摩太有第二個意思，
Also, the name Timothy have a second meaning.
一個榮耀神嘅人。
The meaning is a person respect or glorify God.
喺佢嘅名稱裏邊有一個屬靈嘅意思。
In his name, there is a spiritual meaning there.
你嘅人生最緊要榮耀神。
In your life, the main thing is you have to glorify your God.
如果你人生人睇你好成就，但係你所做嘅嘢唔係榮耀神，
Even though people see you as a very successful person, but you don't glorify God, that's meaningless.
或者調翻轉，可能你所做嘅嘢冇人知道，冇人留意，冇人稱讚，但係你所做嘅嘢能夠榮耀神，感謝主。
Or you look at it another way, that even though what you have done doesn't seem any significant to the world, but however, if you glorify God, then you're pleased by God. You're pleased by God.
當提摩太去點樣從佢嘅名裏邊衡量佢嘅人生嘅時候，別人對佢嘅期望，我哋有冇留意上主對你嘅期望？
When we explore the meaning of Timothy, and then we just focus on people's expectation on you, then did you also realize there's expectation from God?
兩者要平衡。如果你唔識平衡嘅時候，你人生就會跌喺一個好負面嘅幽谷。
You have balance between the two, the expectation from people and the expectation from God. Otherwise, you will to get into the negative emotion we mentioned.
你嘅名叫做咩名？
What's your name?
你知唔知你個名係咩意思？
Do you know if your name has a special meaning?
點解改呢個名？
Why your name was?
你父母俾你一個咩期望？
So what your parents' expectation for you?
上帝俾你一個咩期望？
Was the expectation from God for you?
大衛嘅人生。
King David in his life.
我唔知你會覺得大衛嘅人生係一個好嘅人生定唔好嘅人生。
I'm not sure how you evaluate King David. Does he have a good life or bad life?
如果你淨係知道大衛係一個皇帝，你會覺得哇好羨慕佢。
Then you may just kind of respect or King David because he was a king.
但如果你深入睇大衛嘅生平嘅時候，佢經歷好多坎坷嘅事情。
When you look into King David's life, the detail actually he has also faced lots of difficulty in his life.
佢逃亡，
He had to escape.
佢俾佢最親嘅人去追殺。
He was traced by his very close relative and try to kill him.
就算佢嘅家庭都出現好多嘅問題。
He also had lots of issues in his family.
如果大衛唔識諗嘅時候，佢點睇佢嘅人生？
If King David cannot walk out from all this challenge, then what kind of life you think King David will have?
佢就算做皇帝，佢都唔會快樂。
Even he was a king, he won't be joyful.
但係留意詩篇139篇，
However, when we look at Psalm
大
138,
衛
139,
點睇佢嘅人生？
then you can realize how David looked into his life.
嗱，我哋一齊讀下。
Maybe we all read together.
OK，我未成形嘅體質，你嘅眼早已看見；你所定嘅日子，我尚未到一日，都寫在你嘅冊上。神啊，你嘅意念向我何等寶貴，其數何等眾多。我若數點，比海沙更多。我睡醒嘅時候，仍和你嘅同在。大衛嘅人生唔係淨係睇佢點樣坎坷困難。
David didn't focus how bad his life was.
佢睇到佢神創造佢，有佢嘅目的，有佢嘅美意。
Rather, David realized that when God have his will and his expectation for him,
佢集中係睇上帝佢嘅心意，
he just focused and looked at God's thought.
以至佢人生嘅時候，我點樣能夠去完成上帝俾我人生嘅旨意？佢會睇到原來神嘅手係咁樣做，神嘅手咁樣嘅引領，神嘅手點樣保守，點樣祝福。
So he just tried to fulfill God's will and look at how God has been giving all this blessing.
以至佢總結佢嘅人生係神啊，你嘅意念向我何等寶貴。
And then he can conclude that how precious to me are your thoughts.
弟兄姊妹，你嘅人生係咪何等寶貴？
Lord, brothers and sisters, your life is very precious.
係咪好嚮往睇到好多嘅恩典，定係你覺得上帝牽咗你？
Are you pleased by all this grace from God, or in the other way that you bring God that God didn't take care of you?
從提摩太嘅名提醒佢哋，
From the name of Timothy, we were reminded.
只要你生命榮耀神，你人生就寶貴。
As far you glorify the God in your life, then your life will become precious.
可能會遭遇困難，
You will face challenge for
可
sure.
能會遭遇唔如意事，
You have faced lots of sadness.
但係你所做嘅係榮耀神，
And as far you are glorifying God,
你生命就寶貴。
your life will be valuable and precious.
保羅喺哥林多前書嘅第6章裏邊咁話：
And in the 1 Corinthians chapter 6, Paul said,
豈不知你們嘅身子就是聖靈嘅殿麼？這聖靈是從神而來，住在你們裏頭，並且你們不是自己嘅人，因為你們是重價買來，所以要在你們身子上榮耀神。
Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You are bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your body.
弟兄姊妹，你點睇你嘅人生？
But this is how you've been thinking of your life.
你覺得你人生哎呀好多比唔上人定？
Do you feel that your life is not as good as the other one?
是是但但過咗人生就算。
Or I will just pass all this my life or whatever.
弟兄姊妹，你知唔知你嘅人生好寶貴？
However, brothers, do you know your life is really valuable?
You were bought at a good price.
Because you are bought at a good price.
神用失去自己嘅人生買贖我哋翻嚟。
God used His life to.
You know you're so precious. 你知唔知你好寶貴？
You know you're very valuable.
上帝嘅眼中你好寶貴。
Because in the eye of the God, you're very valuable.
聽姊妹啊，唔好理人哋點睇，上帝點睇你？
Don't focus on how people view
你
you.
話俾隔離嗰個聽，你知唔知你上帝睇你好寶貴？
We need to focus on how God's will on you and tell each other. Do you know God see you as a valuable?
Tell someone beside you, do you know you are so precious in God's sight? Right? Right? Amen? Amen? 好寶貴啊！唔係因為你有咩成績啊，
It's not because you have make a great achievement.
因為你嘅生命就已經好寶貴。
Because just your life is valuable or precious in God's will.
你生命寶唔寶貴啊
Do you think your life is valuable?
？Yes? Yes? Absolutely? Definitely? 哦，唔好忘記話第二部分，所以要在你嘅身子上就榮耀神啦。
However, you have to remember the second part too. Therefore, honor God with your body.
所以如果我哋要我哋咁寶貴嘅身體，你要做乜嘢？你就要去將你嘅身體所做嘅事去榮耀上帝。
When we realize we have such a precious life, then we have to use our body to honor God.
如果你每一日所做嘅嘢就係榮耀上帝，你生命就好寶貴，你生命就滿有意義。
We, every day in our life, we are glorifying God, then your life will be precious.
如果你嘅生命只係用金錢去衡量嘅話，
If you just measure your life based on the money value,
話今日股市升我就好有意義價值，聽日跌咁我就冇乜意義人生㗎啦。
oh, when the stock price goes up, my life is so meaningful. And however, on the other way, on the other hand, when the price drop,
如果你嘅價值觀係咁樣啊，我話俾你聽，你嘅人生係為邊個而活？
with your money, if your life is just focused on the monetary value, then they will ask or challenge you, what's your life for?
可能你嘅人生現在係為緊 Donald Trump 而活嘅，
Then your life will just live for Donald Trump.
因為佢講一句説話，等到你話人生有意義冇意義，有意義冇意義係咪？
Because his speech or he may affect the stock price and have impact on your value then.
你唔係加拿大俾我做51週，我加你關稅。
Or you don't sold Canada as the 51st day I impose tariff on you.
弟兄姊妹，你嘅意義、你嘅人生喺上帝嘅手裏邊。
Your life and your value is on the hand of the God.
我哋再睇聖經有記載關於提摩太佢一啲嘅家庭嘅背景。
Actually, the Bible also in Acts it record Timothy's background.
喺使徒行傳嘅第16章裏邊，佢講到提摩太嘅媽媽係一個猶太人，佢爸爸係一個希利尼人。
In the book of Acts chapter 16, the Bible mentioned Timothy's mother was a Jewish, but his father was a Greek.
咁所以喺猶太人會睇提摩太算外邦人定係唔外邦人呢？
So for the Israelites or the Jewish, they may treat Timothy as a Gentile, but not Gentile.
但係呢，喺提摩太後書一章第5節嘅裏邊，佢講到提摩太嘅信仰好被佢嘅祖母、好被佢嘅母親所影響。
So, however, in the 2 Timothy chapter 1, you can see Paul mentioned that Timothy's belief or religious was influenced by his grandmother and his mother.
所以佢成全咗母親俾佢嗰種嘅信仰嘅成全。
And Timothy kind of inherit his mother's faith.
所以保羅形容佢有一種嘅無畏之信啊。
So Paul mentioned that Timothy has sincere faith.
父母俾佢嘅母親俾佢嘅孕育。
In the way that his mother raised Timothy,
上一代去俾一個好嘅基礎信仰嘅基礎。
So his mother or this generation give Timothy a very good faith foundation.
保羅要提醒提摩太，呢個係上帝俾你嘅祝福。
And Paul remind Timothy that actually is such a great blessing from God.
你父母俾你嘅信仰嘅基礎，你點睇？
And however, how we will treat the spiritual foundation
又
from
叫
your
我返
parents.
教會，
You may complain that, oh, you want me to go to worship again?
又要我點，
Or you'll be asking me to do this and that?
定係你會睇呢一個原來係父母俾我哋最好嘅一個嘅禮物，一個屬靈嘅禮物。
However, would you treat this as such a spiritual gift that was given by your parents?
呢一個嘅上好嘅禮物，需要一代嘅傳承落去。提摩太攞到。
Such a great gift has to be passed by generation to generation, and Timothy got this kind of blessing.
唔單止有父上一代俾佢嘅祝福。
Not just not just a blessing from the ascendants.
如果你睇提摩太提先讀嘅經文後書嘅第2章裏邊嘅時候，保羅點樣叫提摩太？
And also, when you look at also the chapter 1, verse 2, how Paul called Timothy.
保羅叫我所親愛嘅兒子提摩太。
So Paul called Timothy, oh my dear son.
哇，保羅係當時一個大嘅使徒。
Paul actually is the greatest apostle during the time.
哇，一個屬靈嘅巨人，佢稱你為兒子。
Such a great leader in the spiritual side, and he called Timothy his dear son.
你會留意聖經裏邊保羅同提摩太一個好親密嘅關係，好似兒子嘅一樣。提摩太好尊重保羅，保羅又好愛護提摩太。
So you can see in the Bible that this is such a great close relation between Apostle Paul and Timothy, and they treat so Paul so love Timothy, and Timothy so respect Paul.
所以別人去睇提摩太有一個好得天獨厚嘅屬靈嘅優勢。
And also, when we look at Timothy, actually Timothy has a very great spiritual foundation or high ground.
你會留意聖經使徒行傳第16章第3節嘅裏邊嘅時候，聖經講咗保羅去為提摩太行咗一個割禮。
In the book of Acts, chapter 16, also mentioned that Apostle Paul has circumstances Timothy.
咁你會留意喺呢一度嘅時候，俾咗個乜嘢圖畫咧？
So what kind of picture message from here?
一個猶太人嘅保羅，喺當佢嘅日後嘅教導，佢會根本唔需要再行呢啲嘅割禮。
Actually, from the Apostle Paul, that this is actually he should not to kind of perform this kind of circumcision.
When you believe in God, you don't need to circumcise. But 點解佢會為提摩太做？提摩太係一個爸爸係希臘人，希臘人，但係佢為咗提摩太可以被人去接納，佢願意幫提摩太做呢一個嘅割禮。
So the reason was because Timothy was kind of his father was a Greek, so Apostle Paul tried to help Timothy to be accepted by the Jews. So Apostle Paul performed the circumcision for Timothy.
所以你會睇到保羅點愛護提摩太。
From that you can see how Apostle Paul loved Timothy.
甚至當佢去面對各樣嘅掙扎嘅時候，
So when Timothy was facing all the struggle,
佢好坦誠同提摩太講，我都會面對我哋嘅痛苦啊。
So Paul honestly told Timothy that he could also suffering as him.
但係佢又話俾提摩太聽，然而我不以為恥，因為知道我所信嘅是誰，也深信他能保存他所交付我嘅。
And Apostle Paul also told Timothy that yet I am not ashamed because I know whom I have believed and have convinced that he is able to guide me.
你會留意保羅係分享係佢嘅掙扎，佢嘅成長，好特別去話俾提摩太聽，希望提摩太都同樣成長。
For the benefit of Timothy's spiritual growth, he shared this struggle. Apostle Paul shared the struggle with Timothy and tried to help him the spiritual growth.
或者換句話講，保羅佢成長得力嘅秘訣，佢特別去話咗俾提摩太聽。
Or say that way, based on Apostle Paul's experience, how he can have a spiritual growth, he shared with Timothy.
但係聖經又點睇提摩太？
And how people mention about Timothy.
喺16章第2節嘅時候
In the book of Acts, chapter 16, verse 1 and 2.
聖經咁樣形容佢喺路斯德和以哥念嘅弟兄都稱讚他。
So the Bible mentioned that the brother at Lystra and Iconium spoke well of him.
即係周圍嘅原來咧，提摩太唔單止有父母俾佢嘅祝福，有屬靈嘅導師嘅祝福，佢自己都好成長。
So from here you can see not just Timothy get blessing from his parents and also get the teaching from Apostle Paul, and also actually he also have a very good personal growth.
所以啲人講起提摩太好嘢。
So when people mention about Timothy, they always say good thing of him.
聖經冇講佢好乜嘢。
The Bible didn't mention in detail what he has done good.
不過如果你喺從人嘅角度裏邊睇，如果呢個人好啊，佢嘅人生裏邊有好多嘢可以好好平衡，佢識處。
So when you think of when people say something live well or do well, actually he has the capability to balance his life.
佢處事好好嘅。
And he know how to handle the matters.
或者佢對人好好嘅。
And also how to treat people well.
兩者要平衡。
And these two has to be balanced.
咁有好多嘅人嘅時候，可能我處事好好，但係對人好唔好嘅。咁跟住一啲人喺背後都唔係講好嘅。
Some people may have the capability to handle things well, but however, he treat people very badly.
但係有一啲人對人好好，但係佢處事又一塌糊塗嘅，咁佢都唔係一個好嘅明星。
On the other hand, some people was able to treat people very well, but however he is incapable to handle things that may not also be a good thing.
所以喺當中嘅時候，提摩太可能喺處事處人都有一個好好嘅成長嘅表現。
From here we can see that Timothy can have the capability to his work and also know how to treat people so well.
人點睇你？
And how people perceive you.
你處人懂得處人嘛？
Do you know how to treat people well?
懂得處事嘛？
So do you know how to handle things well?
兩者有冇取一個平衡？
Do you get a balance of both?
你處人好處事好，上帝點睇你啊？
Even though you can handle both well, but also do you know how God view you or think of you?
提摩太喺佢成長有一個好得天獨厚嘅背景。
So during the growth of Timothy, actually he has a very good foundation.
佢亦都好珍惜呢個背景喺上邊建造。
And he got a very good background, and he value them well.
以致佢睇佢嘅人生係充滿上帝嘅恩典。
So Timothy realized that his life is full of God's grace.
弟兄姊妹，你點睇你嘅人生？
So, brother, sister, how you will your life?
你有冇留意到上帝已經喺你人生俾咗好多祝福你？
Did you realize God have lots of blessing on you?
但係啲祝福你係睇係祝福定係睇係咒詛？
However, do you treat this as a blessing or curse on your life?
你或者我哋要問你點樣喺呢啲祝福裏邊繼續去建造你嘅人生？
Or we should ask that how you can build your life through using all this blessing?
或者點樣將呢啲嘅祝福，以致喺你嘅一代又一代嘅裏邊繼續延續開去？
And also how you can pass all this blessing from generations to generations?
當我哋睇耶穌，
When you look at Jesus Christ,
當耶穌喺佢嘅成長期裏邊，唔係有好多嘅記載。
actually there is not Bible didn't record lots of detail about his growth.
但係聖經裏邊有兩節嘅經文形容到耶穌嘅成長。
And there's two verses in Luke that mention about Jesus Christ's growth.
喺佢兒童嘅時候，聖經喺第40節裏邊咁話。
So in Luke chapter 2, verse 40, it said,
佢話孩子漸漸長大，強健起來，充滿智慧，又有神嘅恩在他身上。
and the child grew and became strong. He was filled with wisdom, and grace of God was upon him.
耶穌嘅成長一句嘅總結，有神嘅恩。
We can conclude Jesus' growth as he has lots of
有
grace
神
of
俾
God
嘅
upon him.
有神嘅智慧，
And he was filled with wisdom.
一個好好嘅平衡。
And this is such a balance.
繼續喺第52節裏邊形容耶穌嘅智慧同身量。
And also 52 also mentioned Jesus grew in wisdom and stature.
智慧嘅成長好，身體嘅健康。
So it doesn't matter in the growth in wisdom and the health is all good.
最重要，神同埋人喜悅嘅心都一齊嘅增長。
And most importantly was Jesus grow in favor with God and man.
嗱，今日好多人，我哋不斷追求嘅人點睇你，我哋已經討人喜悅。
So right now, most people try to get the peace from other people.
當面對喺啲嘅真理嘅擺低嘅真理，我哋冇晒屬靈嘅原則。
And in doing that, we put aside all this life principle and truth aside.
但耶穌俾我哋一個好好嘅平衡，喺人去睇佢好好，上帝睇佢好好。
However, the Bible, Jesus told us that we can get in favor of both men and women.
弟兄姊妹，今日人點睇你？
Brother, sister, do you know how people look at it view you?
追求好嘅見證，
So you try to be a good
但更重要，
witness of God.
上帝點睇你？
And also most important is how God will you.
上帝係咪睇你好好？
And do you know that did God look at you as a good person?
如果你追求嘅方向正確嘅時候，你人生就充滿咗不斷好多上帝嘅恩典。
If you pursuing the correct direction, then your life will be your growth will be full of grace.
你知唔知上帝俾咗乜嘢嘅恩典你？
Do you know what grace God have given to you?
上帝點樣去孕育你嘅成長？
And how God have been guiding you on your growth.
以致你今日成為何等樣嘅人？
And now in what God has done for you, so and make you go this way, and you.
你冇睇你嘅人生係一個充滿恩典嘅人生。
Do you find or realize your life is full of grace?
跟住我哋嘗試去睇提摩太嘅侍奉。
And now we switch to see how Timothy served God.
你會留意到提摩太嘅名喺保羅嘅宣教嘅旅程嘅裏邊常常出現。
You may know that Timothy was mentioned many times during the mission journey of Paul.
當佢哋喺比利亞侍奉嘅時候，提摩太嘅名出現。
And when they are serving Berea, then Timothy was mentioned there.
咁當佢哋去到馬其頓，提摩太嘅名出現。
And also when the mission journey moved at Macedon, Timothy was also mentioned.
喺提摩太嗰個嘅保羅嘅侍奉嘅裏邊，宣教嘅旅程嘅裏邊，提摩太係同埋喺佢嘅 team 嘅裏邊一齊。
And also Timothy was a member of the missionary team during the mission journey.
嗱，提摩太呢段嘅時間嘅裏邊，會唔會有困難咧
？During that time, will Timothy face challenges?
但係佢因為有一個嘅好好嘅 team，有保羅帶住佢侍奉嘅裏邊，佢經歷到好多嘅祝福。
Because of he was held up by other team member and Paul, then Timothy got us a blessing during the journey.
唔單止提摩太參與咗保羅嘅宣教嘅旅程。
And not just Timothy joined the mission journey of Paul.
你會留意保羅寫嘅書信。
You pay attention to Apostle Paul's letters.
喺腓立比書嘅時候，一開始耶穌基督嘅僕人保羅和提摩太寫信給住在腓立比嘅。
And actually on the chapter 1, verse 1 of Philippians, it mentioned Paul and Timothy, servant of Christ, says to all these things in Jesus Christ at Philippi.
保羅嘅宣教旅程有提摩太份，保羅寫作嘅旅程亦都有提摩太份。
Not just Paul mentioned that Timothy was one of these members of the mission journey. Also, during Paul's letter, Timothy was mentioned several times.
保羅係寫俾提摩太啊，佢都會寫俾地方教會，佢都會提摩太，因為可能提摩太喺當地裏邊好認識，或者裏邊嘅內容亦都係提摩太所同樣嘅表達。
When the letter that Paul wrote for the local church, Timothy was mentioned because maybe the local church also knew Timothy, and also there may be some content of the letter was also was from Timothy.
喺腓利門書嘅裏邊，亦都係同樣去提到提摩太。
In the book of Philemon, they also mentioned there was Timothy was mentioned there.
所以喺保羅嘅宣教事工、保羅嘅寫作事工，提摩太都係佢同佢一齊。
So in both the missionary journey and also the writing of letters of Paul, Timothy also was always with him.
希伯來書嘅第13章亦都提到提摩太，佢講到提摩太已經被釋放。
And also the book of Hebrews also mentioned Timothy has been released.
咁即係換句嚟講，佢梗係被捉先有釋放啊。
Well, that means of course, that means Timothy was captured was captured and then he was released.
即係所以我哋睇提摩太，佢有咁多好嘅背景，佢都會面對困難，但係因為喺一個嘅有好嘅導師，喺一個好嘅團隊嘅裏邊，佢能夠勝得過。
During the serve of Timothy, of course, he also faced of challenges, struggles, but with the help of the team and also if he's a good mentor, he able to overcome all these difficulties.
但當我哋睇提摩太喺後半段佢嘅侍奉係點
However, when we look at the serve of Timothy in at the second half, then we can realize.
提摩太係留喺以弗所裏邊去做牧養嘅工作。
At that time, Timothy was staying in Ephesus to serve.
咁你會留意一樣咧，話當我去做宣教工作，哇，去完嘅，嗰啲人信主好開心啊，嗰啲人信主好開心啊，跟住我哋就走，係咪？但牧養唔同啊。
So during mission, so we may have stay in different locations, but when Timothy need to plant a church in Ephesus, then will be different story.
你會留意喺當時裏邊喺書信保羅睇哋，要警戒嗰幾個人唔好傳異教。
So Timothy had to warn the people that don't or not to force not to teach or teach the false doctrines.
因為當時人嗰啲嘅牧養嘅人群裏邊有人係傳異教嘛。
Because during that time, people try to teach the false doctrines.
提摩太要處理信仰嘅問題。
We can see Timothy had to deal with all this, the faith or this religious challenges.
嗱，跟住保羅又提摩太，哎呀，我哋也不可聽從那荒謬無憑嘅言語。
And also Paul remind Timothy that not to devote themselves to myths.
人好易噏三噏四嘅。
There may be lots of myth or wrong message from other people.
但係啲人亂咁講嘢。
They will say or speech whatever they want and wrongly.
中國人有句説話，人言就點啊？可畏。
So there's also a Chinese saying that the word from other people actually we should be afraid of that.
有人嘅地方就會有人講嘢。
When there's a people, there will be lots of message or speech around.
喺你面前講或者喺背後講人嘅言語嘅問題，提摩太要處理。
People may speak to you or spoke to you in front of you or even behind your back.
你會留意保羅亦都講啊，因為這啲説謊人嘅假冒，這等人嘅良心如同被熱鐵烙慣一般。
Paul also says such teaching come through hypothetical liars whose conscience have been seared as with a hot iron.
人喺罪裏邊唔識悔改，喺罪嘅裏邊打滾。
People are trapped in the sins and they don't know how to return or they have been struggled inside to deal with all the sins.
喺4章第12節裏邊嘅時候，保羅話：不可叫人小看你年輕。
In chapter 4, verse 12, Paul said, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young."
點解咁講啊？梗係有人小看你年輕。
Paul said that, of course, because someone had been looked down on them.
保羅去到第二章第1節嘅裏邊講到你要剛強起來。
So Paul also said and asked them to be strong.
點解要剛強啊？
Then why Paul asked them to be strong?
膽怯。
Because they are afraid.
你會留意保羅去到喺以弗所嘅牧會嘅裏邊，佢自己要面對好多嘅事情，佢遇到好多嘅困難。
So even Paul have lots of challenges when he tried to serve in the church of Philippines. Ephesians.
So when he's serving there, he's facing so many different kinds of the problem, like the faith, like the interpersonal relationship, and how the people look down on him. So those kind of things is bothering Timothy. 佢面對好多唔同嘅掙扎。
So Timothy was facing lots of struggles.
弟兄姊妹，有時我哋侍奉都會面對好多唔同嘅掙扎。
Brothers and sisters, when we serve, we also have struggles ourselves.
你點處？
How would you handle them?
保羅要寫2封信去鼓勵。
Paul has to prepare 2 letters to encourage Timothy.
保羅所愛嘅提摩太跌咗喺一個好大嘅屬靈嘅幽谷。
The beloved Timothy fell into a deep valley.
可能佢面對傷害。
He may be hurt.
別人唔知，
No one knows about that,
保羅知。
but Paul knows.
可能佢面對俾人誤會，別人唔知，保羅知。
So Timothy may be misunderstood by other people. No one knows, but for sure Paul knows.
可能佢面對好多屬靈幽谷，哎呀唔想再侍奉，別人唔知，保羅知。
So Timothy may fall into a spiritual valley that no one knows, but Paul knew.
但係點解保羅知啊？因為佢經歷過。
Why Paul knew? Because he also has the same experience as Timothy.
以致保羅去刻意寫信去鼓勵提摩太。
That drive Paul to prepare these two letters to encourage Timothy.
留意剛才主席同我哋讀嘅經文嘅裏邊，佢話因為神嘅恩賜給我們，不是一個膽怯嘅心，乃是一個剛強仁愛謹守嘅心。
So as we read in chapter 1, verse 7, for God did not give us a spiritual of timidity, but spiritual of power, of love, and of self-discipline.
神俾我哋係乜嘢啊？神唔係俾我哋膽怯去怕事，神俾我哋勇敢嘅心去面對啊！呢個係集中喺神嘅能力嘅上邊。
So what I have given is not fear, rather than this is gave us a spiritual of timidity and just focus and hold on God's power.
保羅係一個老手
So Paul,
he have so many experience in serving。原來佢知道，當面對困難，人好容易驚、怕、避、逃避。
Paul knew that when facing all the challenge, people will be fear and also escape and try to avoid.
保羅點樣得力嘅秘訣話俾提摩太聽，你要集中咩睇神嘅能力啊！
So Paul, whatever he learned, the technique that learned from all his experience, he share with Timothy.
因為神賜俾我唔係膽怯，唔係膽怯嘅心，但係勇敢、剛強、仁愛嘅心。
So Paul asked Timothy to hold on God's power because God gave us a spiritual timidity.
弟兄姊妹，當我哋侍奉成長，我哋可能都會面對好多嘅挑戰，找住乜嘢？找住神俾我哋嘅能力，唔係擁抱住自己嘅能力。
So when we serve, we also face all the struggles and challenges. But what we hold on, we need to hold on God's power. It's not our own.
找住神嘅能力，盡力去侍奉主。
Hold on God's power and serve our best to God.
俾神俾你有能力，就好好用呢啲能力。
So gave you the power and then use them wisely.
第8節裏邊咁樣講。
And also, chapter 1, verse 8
嗱，
said,
我哋一齊讀第8
may we
節。
all read together.
你不要以給我們主作見證為恥，也不要以我們這為主被囚嘅為恥，總要按神嘅能力與我為福音同受苦難。保羅同佢講，唔好以面對困難成為你嘅絆腳石。
So Paul told them that don't be trapped by or hindered by all this suffering.
保羅提佢哋與福音同受苦難。
And Paul asked them to join with me in suffering for the gospel by the power of God.
提摩太，神呼召你去侍奉佢啊！
So Timothy, God called you to serve him.
神呼召你為福音努力啊！
So God called you to serve for the gospel.
唔係睇你嘅成就啊！
It's not based on your achievement.
找住神嘅呼召，
Hold on God's call or mission.
擁抱住神俾你嘅召命。
Embrace the will of God for you.
再睇
And we look further.
第9節一齊讀。
May we all read together verse 9.
神救了我們，以聖召召我們，不是按我們嘅行為，乃是按他嘅旨意和恩典。這恩典是萬古之先在基督耶穌裏賜給我們。保羅要提醒提摩太，你要找緊乜嘢？恩典 ，the grace。
Paul reminded Timothy that he has to also hold on God's grace.
每一個困難，上帝容許總有恩典俾你面對。
Or this problem, or the challenges, when it's allowed by God, God will have His grace for you to hold on to deal with them.
每一個困難，正好讓我哋去經歷上帝莫大嘅恩典嘅機會。
So all these challenges actually is opportunity for us to experience God's grace.
唔好怕困難，
Don't be afraid.
讓喺困難裏邊，讓我哋更加依靠上帝，找住佢嘅恩典。
Through all this challenge, we learn how to hold on God's grace.
最後，
And lastly,
保羅喺第6節咁話，
and Paul said in verse 6,
我哋一齊讀第6節。
may we all read together.
為此我提醒你，使你將神藉我按手給你嘅恩賜再如火挑旺起嚟。保羅提摩太，神俾你嘅恩賜。
Paul remind Timothy that God has gift for you.
神俾你好多嘅禮物，
God gave you, provide you lots of gifts.
呢啲禮物係神俾你，以致你又可以侍奉。
Those gifts is from God that you can use them to serve.
你知唔知神俾咗好多禮物你啊？
Do you know God provide you lots of gifts?
保羅形容再一次如火挑旺。
Paul emphasized again, fan into flame.
可能我已經被好多嘅困難面對灰心，嗰個侍奉嘅火熱好似熄滅。
So because all these challenges, we may be disappointed and the flame to serve God has been distinct.
一次一次嘅打擊，一次一次嘅失望，可能令到你侍奉嘅心，哎呀，做埋佢就算啦。
All this attack and all these challenges and disappointment and make you to give up on serving.
No， 再一次燃點你侍奉嘅熱誠。
Let us to reburn the flame.
再一次讓聖靈喺你嘅生命裏邊嘅使用你，
Once again, let the Holy Spirit to use you.
讓聖靈嘅能力覆庇你，彰顯佢莫大嘅能力。
Let the power of the Holy Spirit to reveal God's power.
神可以更大嘅使用你。
So God can use even more.
點解保羅要咁樣同提摩太講？
So why Paul have to emphasize that to Timothy?
保羅去侍奉都面對好多嘅挑戰，
Because even Paul served him, he also faced all these challenges.
俾人打，
He was attacked.
俾人捉，
He was captured.
俾人誣告。
He was misunderstood.
點解侍奉會面對咁嘅嘢？
Why serving God have to face all these challenges and sufferings?
保羅知道撒旦嘅伎倆，
Because Paul knows all this technique from the evil ones.
記唔記得頭先唱嗰首歌
Can we remember what we sang?
？Almighty fortress is our God，係找住神自己。
So God is a merchant fortune and hold on to Him.
唔好俾撒旦去迷惑咗我哋。
Don't be trapped by the devil ones.
持守神嘅能力，持守神嘅使命。
Hold on the mission of God and hold on the power of God.
持守神嘅恩典，持守神嘅恩賜。
Hold on God's grace and gift.
有咩共通點啊？
What they're common.
全部都係依靠翻神啊
Actually, what is common is we should trust and rely on God.
，not by yourself. Put your faith in God. When you put the trust on yourself, you're facing the challenge. Put your trust in God always. You can overcome all kinds of challenge. 如果你將你嘅注意力擺喺你自己，你會面對困難。將你嘅信心能力擺喺上帝度，你會勝過各樣嘅困難。點解保羅會面對挑戰？
Why Paul would face all these challenges and struggles?
當面對困難平衡唔到，
When we are facing challenge, we are not able to balance.
困難大過上帝嘅恩典，
When the challenges, then we will feel the challenge is greater than the grace of God.
去專注困難。
Then we will focus on the challenges.
點解保羅要咁樣鼓勵提摩太？
So why Paul had to encourage Timothy that way?
將個眼擺翻喺上帝度，
So Paul asked Timothy to focus on God,
上帝嘅能力，
focus on God's power,
上帝喺你人生嘅呼召，
focus on God's call,
上帝嘅恩典，
focus on God's grace,
你會面對勝過你各樣嘅困難。
and you can be triumph or overcome all these challenges.
保羅喺第15節裏邊去提醒提摩太，
And also in verse 15, Paul encouraged Timothy.
佢話你當竭力在神面前得蒙喜悅，作無愧嘅工人。
Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved a workman who does not need to be ashamed.
侍奉係會有困難，
Of course, there will be difficulty when you serve,
忠心做一個無愧嘅工人。
and be faithful and do your best to be
侍奉嘅挑戰你可以勝過。
and you can overcome all this challenge during the serve.
提摩太嘅人生，
During Timothy's life,
神俾佢有一個人生嘅計劃，
God has a plan for him.
佢自己珍惜嘅成長。
He value all this foundation or background during his growth.
但會面對挑戰，
And, however, he still faced all these challenges.
但係啲挑戰可以勝過。
But he or we can overcome all these challenges.
保羅面對
Paul had
每一個侍奉神嘅人都會要面對。
Paul had those challenges, and everyone who served God will also have those
保
challenges.
羅知道點樣得勝，
Paul know how to overcome.
每一個侍奉神嘅人都要知道點樣去得勝。
So everyone who served God would also know how to
如果
overcome.
唔係，就跌落喺侍奉一個停滯嘅幽谷。
Otherwise, we will be trapped or fell into the valley that hindered us from serving God.
當我哋唱呢首回應嘅詩歌，
When we sing this response song,
請你記住一件事：
remember,
上帝唔會忘記你。
God will never forget you.